Greetings! Welcome to the Devlog for update 107 of Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, we're back on the main branch. Finally, and so we are sort of bringing to a close this first big AR15 update, which has been quite a challenge to get all of the sort of content substituted for the original versions of those guns in the games. They're directly referenced in a bunch of places, and sort of fixing a whole bunch of sort of item spawner and metadata bugs that cropped up along the way. And so to sort of close things out, my apologies to those of you who are sick of AR15 variants, but we have the final group of them that is going in for now. There'll be more later in the year, months from now, but for now, let's take a look at the last that are going in. The first of them, which I've already shown off, so I'll just show you briefly, our C601 is actually going in the game. Remember that it actually has a dedicated optic to it, and pairs very handsomely with our 20-round waffle mag. Let's take some shots. Oh, there we go. Wonderful. Just a beautiful piece. A beautiful piece. What else do we have? Well, let's go on over to our item spawner, because these are in two different places. Let's pop over here. Look at the row of M16. We have the original M16 variant, not the A1, which, as you'll notice, has the lack of the forward assist and significantly more flat surface on the right. Very much closer in appearance to our C601, and Ole, the artist who worked on these, happens to prefer this a great deal aesthetically over the A1. We have got the A2, looking sweet. Let's grab ourselves a 30 here with our rounder hand grip on the front, and if memory serves, yep, this one is burst. Love it. Absolutely love it. There goes that round. We have the A3, which I think this is probably the least common. Shows up least in games. I know it showed up, I believe it was in a Battlefield game, but I could not remember a game that it was in when I was implementing it. So there's our A3. Only real difference between the A2 is that this one is fully automatic. Blammo. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's put you over here. So we are running out of space. We also have, if we go over to the carbine category, which obviously refers to both our short weapons and our non-fully automatic ones, and shoot over here, we have two other AR variants. This first one here is the first civilian market AR15 model, which is the R6000 SP1. Take a look at that. It's got that beautiful like slab side lower, no forward assist. Absolutely beautiful. And of course, semi-auto only. So in things like take and hold and other sorts of contexts where we have semi-auto rifles show up, in addition to the sort of modern semi-auto civilian AR-15s that will eventually get a replacement, we have this classic here. Let's see here. Let's move these out of the way. And we have the R6001 SP1 carbine, which is kind of funny looking because it's sort of truncated here, but still longer barrel for legal reasons, which has our extendable stock. Ooh, you are missing a stock sound. How interesting. I must have not dragged in a connection there. Easy to fix before we push the build with this. Helps to stop talking before you start firing, Anton. So there you have it. So, yes, with all of those, my goodness, with this update, I think between the M4s, the M16s, and these, we officially have, I believe, either 11 or 12 AR15 variants that are all dimensionally accurate and consistent with each other, consistent treatment, the highest quality in modeling and texturing, and they just look absolutely wonderful. Now, some of you may be looking at these and be like, but in Take and Hold, doesn't that mean now when I get an AR within a certain capacity, these are going to be weighted a little higher? That is true, and that's a solution that I intend to fix in the update 108 cycle, because it also has a problem with, like, those of you who, say, end up adding a whole bunch of variants of guns from a mod can end up having those be overweighted as well in the system. So I'm going to be adding in a system called gun groups, basically, that allow guns to be assigned to a specific group, so when the random generator runs, it isn't actually just evenly weighting each instance of thing that fulfills the sort of requirements of the table that is generating them, but actually waits within groups for a single instance to make sure that you're not, getting one of these 50% of the time, which I can imagine would get annoying, especially as I eventually add even more variants next year. The last little addition in this update comes from a bit of a meme around our Discord. I can't even remember how this got it started, but it was requested a while back that I should add a spawn lockable brick to the game, and I finally got around to doing it. I believe I was threatened that several entire sheds would be built out of them, and so this is in the destructible targets category. I actually implemented something fun for this. This actually has several different destruction subgroups that it picks from randomly when you shoot it. Looks like, there we go. We got two different ones there. Sub pieces can be broken apart. Helps to have ammo. Also, to go with it, in part, I ended up putting this in at the last second because I realized that with all of the stuff that's gone in during this cycle, all the ARs, all of the attachments for them, these primitives, the new barriers, we actually had 106 objects that were going into this update manifest. And so I was one short, so I also decided to put in a cinder block to go with the brick. Pop. Same system. Blammo. So I look forward to seeing, as usual, one of you is going to just build like an entire cinder block house and bring this game to its knees when you hit said cinder block house with a mortar shell. So I look forward to seeing that. So get on it. Yo! So what else? We've got a fix for the laser pistol that was causing it to advance to the next energy state every time you inserted a cell. There is a fix to grenade explosion events not passing on the incendiary property to SOSIGs, only to the player. This didn't actually impact the game. This was something that only when modder folk decided to make some incendiary explosions using that script, it didn't work. So whoops, didn't work because I never tested it. I made all of the 1911 mag poses consistent and then fixed some missing geo on like the Blondie Derringer, our 45 ACP oversized rounds, fixed the ejection position on the M4 left hook, which is still on the right side of the gun, but it's trying to eject brass to the left, so it just shake there. Oh, some bugs are funny. Removed the like damped light flash that was still present when firing a suppressed gun that I somehow never noticed. That was like just a mistake I made in my FX manager, like, I don't know, 3 years ago. You'd think I would have noticed sooner, but it's fixed now. Fix the ejection direction on the big bore salvaged. Yeah, and fix some stock point stuff with our new M4s. So yeah, so there you have it. There is update 107. I know this was originally going to be a Super Game Planner focused update, but it ended up being the content side of it ended up being our first AR update, with the sort of back-end code side of it being an engine migration and fixing tons of metadata, which was super necessary for the Game Planner stuff. If I had not gone and fixed that metadata and found a couple other really subtle problems with my vault saving system, that would have been a big problem if people had started making stuff en masse only to have things just get corrupted and fragged like they would have been. So necessary work, not the most exciting in certain ways, but I'm super happy with how this update has come together. And it's one of those things that the various AR15, like how to put this, H3's collection of firearms has always been an ensemble sort of thing from an asset standpoint. They've come from dozens and dozens of different artists at that point, and that serves the game very well because there's, over 500 weapons in the game, and so having different stylistic treatments and things like that is perfectly fine. And in many ways, you can sort of see different sort of eras and epochs of them, see the way in which even just the standards of how we make firearm models for games have changed over the past 6 or 7 years. But that obviously causes a bit of a problem when you have something like the AR15 platform and a standardized type of magazine, and then you have those weapons made by like 7 different artists, roughly speaking, none of which actually modeled things to perfect measurements. And it's always been this weird balancing act where I'd like fix one thing or I'd swap a mag and people would be like, it's clipping through this one now. And so it just feels so good to finally have a consistently authored set of our sort of core quintessential AR-15 pattern weapons in the game. It'll be a set that we'll just slowly add to over time with just there's some other sort of idiosyncratic ones from the sort of 70s that I know are really popular, like the XM177. There's some early prototypes you want to put in. There's some modern sort of civvy ones. We're probably going to put in a rendition of the one that I actually own in there. And so, yeah, but it's so nice to have the core set finally authored consistently and beautifully. Ole has done incredible work on these. It has taken a long time, and there are still a lot of pieces, across that whole set that you haven't seen yet because they haven't gone. A gun that uses them haven't gone in yet. But we're just going to. It's a fantastic foundation to continue building on and expanding. So yeah. In terms of what is coming up next, obviously, as I said last week, I am going on vacation finally for about 2 weeks. I am heading back east, where I am from, back to right now cold Western New York, and going to have myself as many chicken finger subs as I can possibly manage. I'm really looking forward to it. And then once I get back, the sort of the next update cycle is going to be focused on levels and the game planner stuff. So I haven't decided which one I'm going to push first, whether it's going to be the sort of city one or the desert one. Probably the desert one because that's simpler. But we're going to get that going nice and early because it'll be the test bed for some of the stuff that I'm going to be putting in over that cycle, probably finishing up a locomotion tool or two, and we can finally get some event system stuff going with bots, so we can get you spawning bots parametrically, and people can start building themselves little combat modes with them finally. So that will be the priority, I promise. So, well, I hope you have yourselves a wonderful weekend and a wonderful next 2 weeks playing with the new toys. Hopefully nothing explodes on the pushing to main branch. Thankfully, I don't actually technically leave on my vacation until Tuesday. So if something explodes over the weekend and needs to be hot fixed, I will probably be able to fix it before I actually stop working and leave. So yeah, I wish you all the best. See you soon. Peace.